Welcome, all viewers. Welcome to another session from Skillify. I am Nitika Khanna, Teaching Associate cum Course Coordinator from Amity University Online. Today, I'm going to conduct this session on data literacy. So, let us start with today's session and let me share my screen now. So, here we are going to talk about the data literacy part. So, we all must agree to one situation here that the year 2020 has begun a revolution around the globe and broken many norms of the society, like physical office spaces and meetings have been replaced by digital workplaces and virtual video conferencing. The traditional 9 to 5 work schedule is also getting replaced by the work from home concepts. If one thing is quoted which has changed the most during the pandemic, then it could be consumer preferences, which is thereby influencing the market dynamics and the way businesses or enterprises operate. Major contributing sectors like healthcare, real estate, financial services, retail, and manufacturing has adopted digital transformation around the globe. And while the world was already digitalizing almost everything at a good scale, the pandemic outbreak has even accelerated the pace of this transformation, resulting in heaps of reusable data. In this new normal, entrepreneur around the globe, small or big, extensively rely on the data, and data literacy at the same time has become an essential for employees working across the senior level or even the mid level roles. But to my amaze, enough evidence suggests that more companies, most companies, even the reputed ones, are still struggling to build the skill of data literacy across their workforce, even after they have identified that it is critically important to grow to the next level. So, in this regard, a recent survey of chief data officers conducted by Gartner, which is a technological research and consulting firm based in Stamford, found that poor data literacy is one of the top three barriers in building a strong data and analytics team in any organization. Also, a data literacy survey conducted by Accenture of more than 9,000 active employees in a variety of roles found that only 21% were confident in their data literacy skills. The Human Impact of Data Literacy report on this survey aims to educate leaders across the organizations about the importance of building a data driven culture, highlighting that investment in training and upskilling is vital and can significantly increase the overall productivity of the workplace. Now, here arises a few questions. First question could be asked that what is data literacy? Firstly, it is important to acknowledge that it is different for everyone as per the requirement. And if we talk about listing a few steps in data literacy execution, then first can be reading the data, which means understanding what kind of data is available and the relevant aspects of the world it represents. Next could be working with the data, which includes creating, acquiring, cleaning, and managing the data as per the requirement. Next could be analyzing the data, which involves filtering, sorting, aggregating, comparing, and even performing other analytic operations on the data. Lastly, arguing with the data, which basically means using the data to support a larger narrative that is intended to communicate some message or story to a particular audience. Another question which comes to my mind in this regard is, what is holding businesses back from becoming fully data driven? One major factor contributing to this is lack of data skills, which is limiting the overall workplace productivity. According to the Accenture survey report, 75% of the employees reported feeling overwhelmed or unhappy while working with the data. This feeling automatically turns into a negative impact on their respective performances, as more than one third of the overwhelmed population also reported to be spending at least 1 hour per week procrastinating their data related tasks. Another one third of overwhelmed population said that they would find an alternative method to complete the task without using the data, while there was 14% who would avoid the task entirely. This situation indeed presents a real barrier to businesses trying to build a data driven culture. Now, the last question which I would ask here is, what is the roadmap finally for enterprises to become more data driven in the culture? So, here is the 6 steps to the best practices of any data literacy program, where the first step involves planning and vision, followed by communication, then workforce assessment, cultural learning, and prescriptive learning, and finally the measurement. So, the first step here, which comes to planning and vision, this step should resolve three critical issues. Basically, who would be the participants of data literacy program, where would the funding come from, and what would be the time frame. So participants under this category, we should take part of the who should take part of the initial data literacy program should be stated, targeting specific individuals in the company or teams or departments that may add more value in the data driven culture in the organization. While funding uh, specification could be in the form of dedicated budget, could be proposed for the establishment of a data literacy program for no losses in future or avoiding dead ends after the processes. And time frame, which is very important, that what is the target date for having this data literacy program, or by when should these 6 steps in the program be completed in the process. Next step here is for the communication, which is indeed cannot be ignored and very important. Initial communication to all the workforce need to be made here, and it should be ensured that it focuses only on why you are doing this data literacy program rather than jumping into how and what is going to happen in the program. So very efficiently and strategically it should be communicated. The next, and I would think the most important step, is workforce assessment. This is most crucial step where leaders of the teams participating in the program need an objective way of assessing each member's current data literacy level so that appropriate path for upskilling can be determined. There are several online tools for this purpose which are accessible free of cost. Also, companies may generate such objective assessments to bifurcate the workforce in different personas as per data proficiency level and may plan ahead for what training is required for which group. The next step is for the cultural learning. So, it is very important to ensure that the data literacy program should not be presented as a change to the way the business works in an organization, but should be introduced as a new strategy that will be adopted and woven into the existing culture over a period of time. The leaders here may look up to or may make it a requirement for the workforce to use data in the meetings. And it should be the cultural learning that all the individuals should have the access to, even those who were not the part of the initial program launch. The next one is the prescriptive learning. Now, here, this type of step can be discussed later in the strategy and framework, which would help start the process of empowerment and upskilling, basically. Prescriptive here does not mean being rigid. Rather, it offers a buffet of resources from which the individual can choose as appropriate to their learning style, dedicated persona as per specified in the third step of workforce assessment, and the time available. And last but not the least, measurement, which is very important. So, periodic measurement and reporting are also essential to demonstrate to the organization that the data literacy program is making some difference in the organization. And this kind of measurement is performed by the leaders who were the part of the original discussion team in the planning stage. Fixing the evaluation metrics in advance, like data usage, number of courses completed, number of certifications awarded, etc. Lastly, don't forget to an iterative approach for continuous improvement, where each iteration should not only advance skills on individual or organizational level, but the program must continue to adapt to the evolving data-driven world, changing BI techniques and emerging technologies. Now, let us discuss one case study on data practices being evolved successfully. It is the case of Nimmer, a US-based non-profit pediatric health system dedicated to the efficient medical care and research. So this company was holding a huge amount of data from electronic health records across the country, and they realized that if this data could be better analyzed, then it can help improve overall patient experience. But just like anyone new to the data world, they didn't know what data was available, let alone how to read, analyze, and interpret it. So they created educational series called Data Swagger Sessions to inspire and upskill the participants of the program. The attendees here did get the understanding of the examinations and data sets and learn how to use technology to generate actionable and timely insights at a crucial stage of decision making. Data literacy training in this case has been put as an integral part for the success of this initiative, where staff feeling more at the overwhelmed. They are able to manage flow, revenue cycle, facilitate ahead of time, overall patient experience, and the ability to deliver the highest level of. Now, I will end my session with this of famous data strategist and best-selling author Bernard. So, it is that the more empowered employees are to read, write, analyze, and argue with data, the more they will be able to contribute to their roles and the future of the organization.